There's a storm brewing over America's heartland, and it smells like ozone and impending doom. In Detroit's boardrooms, a quiet crisis is unfolding, one with a name: China. Ford CEO Jim Farley calls China's EV industry an existential threat. This isn't just competition, it's a potential extinction-level event for the Big Three. China's production capacity is staggering, and the threat is real, organized, and government-backed. The reign of American automotive supremacy is over. The storm is here. How did China, once a newcomer to car manufacturing, become the king of electric vehicles? The answer: a long-term, state-driven strategy. The government poured billions into EVs, subsidized factories, and secured battery supply chains. Today, China produces 70% of the world's electric cars. Companies like Xiaomi now build EVs that rival the best in the world. With unmatched scale and speed, China's EV juggernaut is now eyeing the globe. The U.S. government built a wall, this time a tariff wall. In May 2024, a 100% tariff on Chinese EVs aimed to protect American automakers. But this fortress has flaws. Tariffs trap American companies too, raising costs for essential parts and hurting profits. Even foreign automakers like Honda, who build cars in the U.S., are hit hard. Costs rise, profits fall, and jobs are at risk. Ironically, tariffs meant to protect American jobs may end up hurting them, making it harder for U.S. companies to compete globally. How are Chinese automakers breaking into the American market despite steep tariffs? Their answer: the Trojan horse. By buying up familiar Western brands like MG and filling them with Chinese tech, they sidestep skepticism and political barriers. MG, once a British icon, is now a Chinese-made EV dominating global markets. Chinese companies are also building factories worldwide, embedding themselves in the global auto industry. Their strategy: surround the U.S. market and wait for the walls to fall. In the 1980s, Japanese automakers like Toyota and Honda challenged Detroit with small, reliable cars. But today, China's threat is on a whole new level. Chinese EV companies are backed by the full power of the state, aiming to dominate the future of the automobile. They lead in battery tech, software, and scale, far beyond what Japan achieved. This isn't just competition. It's a total reset, and America risks being left behind. The auto industry's struggles aren't just corporate, they're personal. When factories close, it's families, communities, and entire cities like Detroit and Flint that suffer. The scars of the past remain, and another collapse could be even worse. For every job on the assembly line, many more depend on its survival. The debate over trade and tariffs isn't just about cars. It's about the future of American families. How can Chinese companies sell such advanced cars so cheaply and develop them so quickly? It's not magic. It's a ruthless combination of speed, scale, and a software-first mindset. Chinese EV startups move at lightning speed, building cars in just 2 or 3 years. Their mastery of supply chains and massive scale keeps costs low. But their biggest weapon is software, treating cars as connected devices, not just machines. That's how companies like Xiaomi can build world-class cars on their first try. While legacy automakers sell static machines, China's EVs are dynamic, evolving technology. For all its terrifying efficiency and global ambition, China's EV empire is not without its own problems. In fact, as of late 2025, there are growing signs that the industry might be a giant, state-inflated bubble on the verge of popping. The same government subsidies and relentless push for growth that created this juggernaut have also led to massive overinvestment, reckless competition, and some very creative accounting. It turns out that when you throw endless money at a problem, you create a few new ones. This internal instability could be the one thing that gives American automakers a much-needed breathing room. Earlier this year, even the state-run newspaper, the People's Daily, had to call out a widespread and frankly ridiculous practice in the industry. It turns out many Chinese automakers were selling huge numbers of cars to their own dealerships, who would then immediately resell the brand new unregistered vehicles as used at a massive discount. This scheme allowed the manufacturers to report inflated sales figures, making them look far more successful than they actually were. It's the automotive equivalent of stuffing your pants to look more muscular at the gym. It might look impressive, but it's not real strength. This financial chicanery is a symptom of a deeper sickness. Wei Jianjun, the chairman of Great Wall Motor, one of China's own major automakers, issued a stark warning in May of this year. He stated that China's car industry is facing a potential financial crisis that just hasn't erupted yet. The market is saturated with hundreds of EV brands, many of which are losing staggering amounts of money on every car they sell, surviving only thanks to government handouts or venture capital. It's a brutal price war where the goal isn't profit, but survival, and many are not going to make it. This internal weakness is now rippling outward. Just this month, Honda dramatically cut its profit forecast, citing not only U.S. tariffs, but also collapsing sales in Southeast Asia. Markets like Thailand and Indonesia, once Honda strongholds, are being overrun by a flood of ultra-cheap Chinese EVs. Even Japanese giants are being pushed out by the sheer volume and low prices of their Chinese competitors. The chaos of China's domestic market is forcing its companies to export at all costs, creating instability globally. The dragon may be powerful, but it also appears to be eating itself from the inside out. So, here we are, at a pivotal moment in American history. The challenge is clear, the stakes are monumental, and the outcome is terrifyingly uncertain. The rise of China's EV industry is not just another cycle of competition. It is a fundamental threat to the American automotive industry and the millions of jobs that depend on it. Protective tariffs might buy a little time, but they are a leaky dam against a rising ocean. They won't solve the underlying problem, which is that American companies are at risk of being outmaneuvered, out-innovated, and outpriced by a faster, more agile, and state-supported rival. The path forward cannot be paved with protectionism alone. Relying solely on tariffs is a recipe for slow decay, creating a sheltered but uncompetitive domestic industry that will eventually be overwhelmed. Instead, this crisis must serve as a wake-up call, a Sputnik moment for the 21st century. American automakers, in partnership with the government and labor unions, must accelerate innovation at a pace they have never before attempted. They need to get serious about building affordable EVs. Not just $100,000 electric pickup trucks, but cars that the average American family can actually buy. This means a national commitment to reclaiming the lead in technology. It means investing massively in next-generation battery research, streamlining the development of software, and rebuilding domestic supply chains so we are not dependent on our chief economic rival for critical parts. It requires a culture shift within Detroit, moving away from the slow, bureaucratic habits of the 20th century and embracing the nimble, software-driven mindset of a tech company. It's not just about defending old territory, it's about conquering new frontiers in mobility. The ultimate question is this: what are Americans willing to do to save an industry that helped define their country? Will they demand and support the kind of bold, collaborative, and urgent action required to compete? Or will they watch, as they did with consumer electronics and so many other industries, as another pillar of American economic power crumbles and is shipped overseas? There is no easy answer and no simple solution. But one thing is certain: standing still is not an option. The choice for America's auto industry is stark, and it is immediate: innovate or die.